Alright guys, so we're going to get started. We're going to do the same recipe. I'm doing Kolaches. What you call them? Jalapeno cheese kolaches, that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to do the same recipe in the bread machine on the dough setting versus a stand mixer. It's going to be the exact same recipe. And so first off, when you do, oh, that's something I need anyway. So typically when it's a bread machine recipe, it's going to go in order. So like, probably backwards. We're going to start with the whole milk. Typically when you do a bread machine recipe, it's always going to start with the liquids first. Okay? And then work your way down. All the way. So we got 1 cup of whole milk, 1/4 cup of unsalted butter, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 1/4 teaspoon of instant yeast, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 large egg, 3 cups of bread flour. Now I'm out of bread flour, so I'm just going to use all-purpose. It's totally fine. It works the same. So working off this recipe, I don't know why I have the olive oil. Oh, I need that for the oil later. So we're going to do, got the little spinner thing that goes, if you have a bread machine, you already know what that's for. Make sure that's in there. Boom, that's done. I have to turn it sideways because my cameras are too low. So we got 1 cup of milk. Even though the machine warms it up, I always do it warm anyway. I decided to put both cups in here at the same time, so I don't have to. Perfect. We'll save that for the stand mixer one. Now, we got 1/4 cup of softened butter. I meant to grab this earlier. Get a little silicone spatula. That's going to go in there. And since I didn't leave it out to soften, well, most people think we're Eskimos anyway, so it was probably never going to be soft anyway. I just put it on in the microwave for like 30 seconds. Now, so we got the milk and the butter in there, the 2 tablespoons of sugar. We use pure cane sugar. We don't use that white powder, that white stuff, because it's not all sugar. You might want to read the ingredients on the refined white sugar. You're not even getting, hang on, that wasn't quite. You're not even getting the full sugar. You're getting chemicals and everything else, anti-caking agents, all that crap. Next is the yeast. So this one is the bread machine yeast that's going in, and then I'm going to use the quick rise in this one. So we need 2 1/4 teaspoon of dry yeast. We're going to get into sourdoughs and stuff like that later. Not everybody does sourdough, so this is just regular dry yeast. Commercial. It is organic though, so I guess that's something. Okay. Now we need 1 teaspoon of salt. And see, really, while you're getting all this stuff done, the yeast is already starting to proof in the warm milk. So you see how that works? Okay, so 3 cups of flour. Again, I'm out of bread flour, but all bread flour is baking powder added to it. So let's do that while we're thinking about it. A teaspoon. That's all cake flour is too. I think it has baking soda added to it as well. Or mommy cornstarch. I have to double check. I have the recipe to make your own cake flour and stuff. What did we say? 3 cups. Maybe I'll grab the BB thing. Sorry, y'all. I'm looking for a measuring utensil. Got it. Oop, I'm trying to do this. Yeah, I'm making this because that's what I do. That's 1. Of course, you know to level it out. And 3. Oh yeah, I get flour everywhere. That's what I do. Okay, what else? That was the last ingredient, right? Yes, it was. So, I really have flour everywhere. Oh my God! Hang on. I can't stand it. I gotta. Anyway, so now we're going to close this and I'm going to turn it. This particular model, you can't plug it in until you're ready to go. Plus, it's also 7 years old. So for this one, it's number 8. So cycle down to number 8 and hit the start button. And it says 1.5 hours. And it's going to do everything. Now what I am going to do is lift it up. Here, just a minute. I'm gonna check it here in a minute. A lot of times you gotta kind of like scrape the sides a little bit when it first starts doing its thing. So now let's do the stand mixer. So the milk is still warm. So let's put that in there. Got that out the way. And one thing I am going to do different, it's not going to be in order like it was the bread machine. My sugar. I'm going to go and put in the milk. Then we're going to put this kind of yeast for this. And it's 2 teaspoons and a quarter. So we can go ahead and start getting this proofed. All right, that's that. What I like to do, it's not necessary, but I like to go and bring it down and mix it. Just real quick, just give it a quick little mix. And I'm going to go and put some things up while it's doing it. It's already starting to poof up, so. Okay, I'm gonna come back to you because it's gonna be a minute. Alright. So see how that's cleaned up the sides with those little tidbits of flour? So everything is looking beautiful. Now, whoop, hang on. All right. So that is the consistency you want. It's just a little bit sticky, just a little bit. So we're gonna keep letting this rest, and the gluten is gonna start forming, and then we're gonna spin her for a few more minutes, and then we're gonna put her in a greased bowl. So now, I just turned it down. So now if you look, it's starting to form a ball, and that's what we're looking for. So I'm gonna let this go a couple more minutes on a higher level here, and then we're gonna let it rest for a few minutes, and then we're gonna let it rise. When I was growing up and I would go to my grandma's house during the summer, this is what she played all the time. Polka, anyone? Okay, so now the next stage of this. So what I'm doing is jalapeno sausage kolaches, Klobasniks, however you want to say it. So what I'm doing, nobody asked you, ma'am, go. No, I don't need supervision in the kitchen, Miss Priss. I got this. So we have cheddar cheese, we have jalapenos, and then the sausages of choice. We like the Eckrich Farm beef ones, just our preference. We don't eat pork, so these are the ones that we choose. But do you? So what I do, you saw in the previous video that I showed you how to shred cheese, like if you want to stay on a budget. So I have the big bowl of the cheese, but what I do is just pour a little bit on like a paper towel or whatever, because once your hands start getting into all of this, you don't want the juice getting into the whole bowl of cheddar, because then you're going to put what's left back in the fridge. So I just dump a little less time what I need and go from there. So here's our rolls, and what we do is I just kind of like start shaping them like so. I think I'm going to do 30 today. My husband's taking these to work to feed the guys one day. So anyway, so what we do with the jalapeno ones, if you don't want jalapeno, do what you want, just the cheese or whatever, or you don't even want that, you just want the sausage, that's fine too. So, but if you're doing the jalapeno and the cheese, you put your cheese down first. I know you want to just like put a big glob of it, because you know, if you're a cheese whore like me, that's what I want to do. But the problem is when you do that, it breaks the dough up and it just goes everywhere, and then no cheese clutch. So typically one this size or two small ones, and then you put the sausage down and you just kind of shape it, I mean, best way you can. Depends on how cold the dough is. Now I made this earlier and then froze it for a while, because if you just put it in the fridge, regardless of what proofing machines do or whatever, it's going to keep rising. So if you're just making the dough and you don't want to do anything with it that day or the next few hours, maybe you got to go somewhere for the day or work, put it in the freezer. Go ahead and portion it out how you want, and then just stick it in the freezer, like kind of like flash freeze it, and then just pull it out whenever you're ready. It only takes about 20 minutes for these to get soft enough to manipulate. So anyway, so that's what it's going to look like. Now these are going to rise, so we're going to just keep going. And you can make these bigger if you want, if you're more of a bready person, which I tend to be, but can't really have it anymore. You know, make these bigger. Instead of 36, you make 24 or whatever. So you can make them bigger, especially if you're going to use a different sausage. Like I said, these are just the cocktail sausages from Ecker's Farm. If you want to use like the big kielbasa or whatever type sausage like that, then, you know, then by all means, instead of doing 36 of these, because they're kind of small, then you can do 24 and make the bigger ones. So totally up to you. This is totally a forgivable recipe. I will put the recipe in the description box as well. I know I did a still frame of the handwritten, but I'll put it in the description box as well. So keep going. And what I've started doing, and I like to do it, is after I get all these done, before I put I always put a little jalapeno on top. Just, especially if I'm making more than one variety, that way people that can't have the jalapeno, they know that that's what's in there. I like to brush it with garlic butter and then put the jalapeno or not on there, and it's so good. Yeah, that's a new thing I just started doing, is brushing it with the garlic butter. Even mix some Parmesan cheese in with it on top, and it makes it really good. Garlicky. Us Germans, we like our garlic. My dad used to say it kept the vampires away. So there's that. And again, just to show you one more time, sometimes it can get a little sticky, but just work with it. Make sure these edges are good and sealed. You got to really pinch them, because otherwise it'll just come apart. Nobody needs to come apart, you know what I mean? So I'm going to keep doing these and I'll be back to you. Okay, so this is the first pan. It's one of those big sheet pans. It'll fit 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 on there. And so what we're going to do is just turn the oven all the way down to warm. And we're going to put them in the oven. And we're going to let them rise. And then we're going to brush them with garlic butter and then put the jalapenos on top. Okay, so we are down with the polka today. So I got my garlic butter. I'm brushing them. This is not necessary, and this is definitely not traditional Klobasniks. Now that I can say it, I couldn't spit it out earlier. Klobasniks. My mother would spank me if I called these Kolaches, even though in Southeast Texas we do. But she's serious German. She would say, these are Klobasniks. I got a friend who's got Czech ancestry, and she said they call these Klobasniks as well. So I guess it's like a German Czech thing. So, untraditionally, they have jalapenos in it, but we're in Texas, so that's how we're going to do it. And an actual kolache is a fruit-filled pastry. Different kinds. It can be cream cheese. It can be cream cheese and fruit, like apricot. My mom's favorite is the prune ones. Don't ask me why. Or is it the poppy seed ones? I think she likes both. Anyway, so now we're going to pop these in the oven till they're golden brown, and I'll see you back then. Now, any that are left over, I just take some ghee or whatever you want to grease your pan, butter if you want. And then if I have any, I just put them in here and let them rise, and then bake them like regular dinner rolls. Because that's actually what the recipe is. It's a dinner roll recipe. Not to be confused with the schoolhouse rolls. Those are completely different animal, and we will be making them too. Yep. Anyway, So let these rise to at least double, however big you want them, and stick them in the oven, 350 for 12 minutes or longer if you want.